Hey guys, Uncommon Ramen here. Before I get into the video, let me remind you, if you like the content that I do, please hit that like and subscribe button. And if you want to see the content as it's coming out, make sure to hit that bell icon so you can see, so you can get notifications as they come out. Also, if you feel the need to support me, hit me up on my Patreon at patreon.com/uncommonramen with a capital U and a capital R. I do all of this in my free time, so any amount of support can help me bring more of this content to you more often. Alright, today we're going to take a look at something that isn't necessarily new. In fact, it's not even necessarily new on my shelf. I've had this for a while, and I realized that I don't know if I did an unboxing for this. It is a very strange game. I can't remember. So this is Custom Heroes, and it's called an exciting card crafting trick-taking game. And the card crafting thing, if you'll look right here, AEG. Well, first off, AEG. They have this thing called their card crafting system, and I can't remember if it was what it was called. It was something Veil, Mystic Veil, or something like that. They have this huge game with tons of expansions that utilizes the same card crafting system, or a system that's very similar. It's not the same system, and this is just a standalone offshoot. It's not related to the I swear it's Mystic Veil, but I can't remember. It's not related to that game. It is its own thing, and yeah, it's pretty cool. It came with its own sleeves because you have to, throughout the course of the game, craft your cards, which basically means that you're putting cards that are overlays to a main card into the same sleeve, so the sleeves had to be big enough to support that. Alright, so we are gonna jump in here. Like I said, already unboxed, partially because I wanted to see what the sleeves look like and why they had sleeves in here, and after going through it, I kind of made the realization. Alright, so first thing we're going to look at is the rule book here. And it just goes over some of the... So, AEG did this big in Japan run of games, and to be honest with you, I don't know how much of this was actually truly big in Japan. They made reference to the idea by printing it on their box, but I don't know if any of this actually caught on in Japan at all. I know that Unicornus Knights here was actually designed by a Japanese designer. But again, I don't know if it actually got that big in Japan. It is a truly interesting game. The rulebook needs a lot better translation. But as far as actual gameplay and the cooperative aspect of it, it's actually really fun. And it can actually, once everyone understands the rules and does it correctly, go by really quickly. This game, I still have yet to get to the table. Not for lack of interest, but just because it just hasn't come to the table. There's a lot of games on my shelf, so sorry if I'm going through this really quickly. Oops. The next part is the credits, and it just goes into the Japanese side so that our compatriots in Japan can also learn how to play this game. On top of it, we've got ourselves these little screens, and as I mentioned, I have not played this game yet, so I don't know why there are little screens to hide yourself, but we got some screens here, and on the inside of these screens, it just kind of goes over some sort of iconography that I'm not very sure of. So we got our little paladin girl with, you know, a lot of cleavage. Then we have our little lowly cat girl. We have this fun little robot guy here. our obligatory female android. Who looks beautiful and terrifying at the same time. We have our big ol' guy who looks like a bear. Because of fur, not for any other reason, just in case the community wants to light me up for that one. And we have our obligatory guy with many scars. I mean, if it wasn't designed by a guy named John Auclair, I would think this was designed by a Japanese person, but I'm not saying John Auclair isn't Japanese. It just doesn't sound like a Japanese name. Meanwhile, we're going to take a look at some of these cards in here. These are the sleeve cards, and as you can see, and I'll just point this out right here, these sleeves are actually massive. There's a lot of room at the top here and a lot of room in the sides here. And again, the reason behind this is because this is to allow the other cards to fit inside of here. I think, if I remember correctly, these cards themselves are actually cardboard. Yeah, it's very apparent these are cardboard. They're not plastic. So these are the main cards that you're going to be modifying throughout the course of the game. So we're just going to go through these, and I believe these are just heroes. And there's going to be multiple copies of each of these. I should have probably put these in order, but that wouldn't have been fun. So I think all the ones are Michio, because, you know, we have two Michios here. We got Akiko, Satoshi, Yumi, or I'm sorry, Kumi, Iwao, Miseo, Kichiro, Robo, Yoshima. Starting to think she wasn't a cat. She might be a raccoon. Cyborg. And then Michio. And it just keeps going like that. These cards, I believe, are going to get shuffled. But there's some notable things about these cards that you need to know. If you look... Sorry, let me get a good focus on this. If you look right here, we have a couple of orbs. We also have this orb right here, denoting 10. And then an empty orb and an empty orb. And then down here, we also have some empty orbs. And these are important later on in the game as you modify or craft your cards. So, we're going to go into the fun little crafty cards that we're allowed to do. So, these are the craftable cards, okay? And you can see they are just a plastic card that is somehow modifies the card. And I will show you how they do that as we go through here, but I just want to show you how many of these there are. There are a ton of them. Okay? And they are all plastic, and for some reason they are all sticking together. So we're going to try and get those all nicely pulled apart, and then we're going to show you how this works. So we got our card here, Cyborg, and we want to craft on this little card here. And you're going to see a couple of things here. We're going to see this little visual effect, which is literally all it is a visual effect. And then we have this number right here and this little blue dot down here. And as we insert this into the sleeve, we're going to insert it over the card so that we get something like this. It's a little misaligned, but I'm not a perfectionist here. That's just not true. So you can see that now this +8 inhabits this specific empty orb that was below the 10, and you can also see that the blue orb is now taking up a spot in here, and that is a modification. And when you're playing the game, the rules will tell you exactly what this modification is, but you can also see that now the character has this part, this visual effect in their hand, so this denotes that the card is slightly different. And you can do that for all the different cards. So we're just gonna grab, I don't know, let's grab him. And we got this little sword thing. And it's another thing where we just have the visual effect, the number, and then the dot. And as we insert this in, we try to center it, but that's as good as it gets. You can see that now he is holding said scepter, and the denotation of the number is right here, as well as that little blue orb showing. And there are quite a few of these cards. We're going to go through, first off, just the weapons here. So we've got this, and unfortunately they don't have names here, so we're just going to go based off the visual here. We got this nice little skull sword, a couple of those, a couple of these little, if I could get it to focus, I don't even know what to call that. Possibly a sword of ice of some sort. It's really stuck together. We got ourselves this little fist gauntlet type thing. What appears to be a batarang. A couple of those. Got ourselves some bats. What appears to be a hot dog. And it's -1 power, so that's rough. Not gonna lie. We have, oh, that's even worse. The little #1 finger. You would think that they would try to overpower that just for hilarity's sake. We got this little fire gauntlet, like, dagger thing over here. And, okay, so we've moved to a different hand, and that actually, explains where that secondary orb comes from. So let's just modify this guy one more time, and we're going to add on top of that this fun little gauntlet thingy. So now our character has the gauntlet modification, which is giving him +9, the little mace thingy, which is giving him the +7, and this is what he looks like now, and just the modifications right here indicating which orbs are where. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. And you can see, again, it fits in the sleeve, although, you know, I don't know how much more is going to fit in the sleeve. But anyway, that's how that is going to work. And we have just a whole bunch of these little dudes, too. So this little double sword, this fancy schmancy looking blaster type thing. Got ourselves a little shield of some sort. A fun little, I guess, trident with, well, gauntlet type trident. We've got a couple guns here that are only +3 because, you know, shooting a gun is not effective, I guess. We got a couple of gloves there. We have this, it looks to be a board game. This person is carrying a board game, so yeah, cool. A head of lettuce, so we all know why that's a -1. We got ourselves this little sock puppet, which is so adorable. And then we got ourselves this little bouquet of flowers that's a -3, so apparently we're supposed to avoid marriage. And then we got this fish. I mean, I don't care who you are. If you swing a dead fish at somebody, it's gonna hurt in some way. -4 seems a little sus to me. So these are the stuff that are gonna show up in their hands, but there is more than that. There is some stuff that also is gonna give them a nice little text box to make them even more scary. So we're gonna go through that and find all of those cards. Right here. These are really stuck together. Alright, so this is what these look like here, and it's essentially going to add this whole new section to the card that wasn't there to begin with. And it says right here, this card counts as 2 copies of itself. Really cool. It adds this little dude right here and this little dude right here. So let's go ahead and modify this little cyborg, right? So now our cyborg what an interesting game. So now our cyborg has this little ability, and you can see where the orb sits in there, and we have our little whatever that is, and now the cyborg counts as 2 copies of itself, right? Sorry about that. All right, so we got ourselves quite a few of those little dudes, these little rabbit thingies. Then we have this little, for lack of a better word, squirrel spirit. Anyway, reverse the numerical direction of this pile. I'm not really sure what that means, but if I had to take a guess, I would say that the values of the modifications switch up. And there's quite a few. This one. Then we have what appears to be a very spiky kappa. This card is wild if played in a set. I don't know what that means, but I'm sure that's good. Is this 2 cards? It's hard to tell. I can't tell with these anymore. And there's quite a few of these guys as well. So there's not a lot of variety in these abilities. Probably because there doesn't necessarily need to be a lot of variety. And more importantly, it does allow for them over the course to create expansions, although this game isn't that new and hasn't seen anything new recently. So then we have this little dragon guy. You can tell that he's a baby dragon because he has cute eyes. Normal dragon definitely has scary, violent eyes. This guy says, buy 2 whatever, win 2 whatever if you win the turn. So that's pretty cool. And then we have this little spike ball thing that looks like a mixture between a fish and a ghastly. Can I say that? I hope I can say that. Gain 1 whatever if you win this pile. All right. This is 2 cards, huh? Yep. Ta-da! Okay, so those are those little fun little modifications, but it goes further than that, right? Because we definitely can't just end right there. We also have something that will straight up modify the top number of your card. So originally, if I remember correctly, the highest value, and I can just double check that because I don't want to be wrong about this, but I think it's a 10, right? So yeah, so Cyborg is a 10, but if you look, we can actually modify these and make them really crazy numbers, like 14s and all that stuff. And it gives them this little aura about them. So we got this 13 here, this 12 here, 2 of these 12s with these little Nordic symbols around it, the 11 with flames around it, the 10 here that has what appears to be smoke of some sort. We got our 9 here with some ice detailings, our 8 with a rain and storm and all that stuff, and then we have one of each, the 7, 6, and 5. The 7 has little rose petals, the 6 has cats, and the 5 has these little balloons. So let's just go modifying away here. Let's find a Satoshi, because Satoshi is only 3 up here. I want Satoshi to actually be a 5, so we're going to give him a balloon aura, and boom. So you can see here that now we have our little blip here showing what kind of modification is on it, and then we also now supersede the 3 with this nice little 5, and now Satoshi with his balloon aura is just a little bit more strong, because we all know that balloons make you more powerful. All right, and you know what? For the heck of it, we're gonna make Yoshima here, the cat girl, really into cats. So we're just gonna slide this in here, and we modify her in the worst way possible because she was actually a 9, but now she drops down to a 6. But she's also, you know, really into cats, I guess. Okay, and you would think that would be it, but there's more. There's even more. There are these super things, these super abilities that straight up change the character completely. Okay, so each of these has their own facing that completely blanks out whatever was below it without taking away the modification windows in all places except for the yellow. And if I remember correctly, yellow was the text box ones. So if we were to take, for instance, Miseo here, Miseo, we could change Miseo. Let's change Miseo into a guy, right? This guy right here, Lavinor. He is a guy, and she was actually a he the whole time. That was her identifying pronouns, and she finally went ahead and decided to if I could get the overlay here. She finally went ahead and decided to go for the transition, and now goes by the name Levanor and lives her best life, right? And you can see here that it still leaves these open, and it leaves these open for modifications. I don't know if you can actually, with these guys, if you can put modifications over it. So let's just say, now that we have this wonderful Lavinor living his best life, we're also going to give him some rose petals and up his stats just a teensy bit. So now we have Lavinor living his best life with, you know, rose petals everywhere, right? So anyway, you can see that the game is very interesting. I'm sure there is an extremely deep level of strategy with this game, especially on how to play these cards and when it is the best time to modify them and so on. And this is the deck of cards they give you for modifications, and this is the deck of cards they give you that can be modified. The key here is that the game is actually pretty super expandable. It's got a lot going for it, but again, hasn't had anything happen to it in the recent time that it has been available. One of the last things in here is this fun little pouch here, which contains tokens in it, and we'll just go ahead and dump these tokens out. So these tokens represent, if I had to take a guess, buying power and victory points, but seeing as I have no idea, you can't take me for take me at face value here. So yeah, we have these two little tokens here. I think this is victory points, and I think this has something to do with currency. Yeah. Anyway, this is Custom Robo. Or Custom Robo. Custom Heroes. Custom Robo is an old game. Actually, they might have made a new one. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. This is Custom Heroes by AEG. They're big in Japan line. And, yeah. That's kind of it. Yeah, if you have any questions or comments, leave those down below. But let's keep it positive. We don't need anything negative. It just doesn't make any sense. And guys, until next time. Peace.